My name is Maria Juarez, and you're listening to In This Casa. Bienvenidos. In this podcast, I aim to memorialize and honor my husband David's memory by exploring conversations about life and what it's like in my casa, and hopefully in other casas as well. Welcome back to In This Casa, and thank you for joining me. In today's episode, we are joined by another very special guest, my cousin Gina.
Hello.
Hi, Gina.
Hi.
Gina has joined us today to be our first guest, who we're going to get to talk about what it's like in her casa. Are you excited?
I am excited.
I am
There's
too.
a little bit to talk about.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you to join me today.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I kind of had some ideas about what we could talk about, but there's a lot going on in your casa right now, and I want to be very sensitive to that. So
Okay.
I don't know if you want to tell me what you're okay with talking about, or you want me to ask questions and see if it's okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go.
Okay. So I think what I'd like to do is let's talk about my podcast.
Okay.
And I share a lot of really personal information in regards to what's happened recently with the loss of David.
Yes.
And so there's a lot going on in your life here pretty soon that kind of like mirrors that.
Yes.
And so I was hoping that we could kind of talk about that a little bit to be able to give kind of a recording for your family that they can go back and look one day and see this conversation.
That would be great.
Yeah, with their mom or with their their honey.
Yes.
Yes, because
yeah.
Gina's grandkids call her honey instead of grandma.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and that's because your mom is grandma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Gina's mom, my Aunt Priscilla, they refer to her as grandma because your grandkids your kids, Samantha and Vivian, call her grandma.
Yes.
So then their kids, which are her great grandkids, grew up hearing her being called grandma.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I love that they call you honey.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Even their friends call me honey.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, that's all they know me is honey.
I love that. That is so cute. Maybe we could do like a quick recap of your life first.
Okay. Sure.
So you were born in Dallas.
I was born in Dallas, born and raised, born in 1970. I'm a Leo. I went to Thomas Jefferson High School.
Yeah.
I had my first daughter when I was about to turn 18. I had Vivian when I turned 21. And I got married to my husband, Tino, in the year 2000.
So y'all been married for
24 years.
24 years. Yeah.
I owned my own business for 10 years. I jumped out of that about 5 years ago, and I worked for Dignity Memorial. Obviously, a lot of our family works there.
Yes.
And then I started that in 2018. And then unfortunately, the end of the year in 2019, I got diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had a double mastectomy.
Yeah.
In 2020, and went through chemo and all that, and here we are trucking along.
Yeah.
At the end of 2020, I got diagnosed. Well, my cancer had metastasized to my shoulder bone, and this year we've had some unfortunate news that it's also spread and gotten larger, and my L2.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
It's okay.
In my L2 vertebrae and in my hip bone, and went through radiation and all of that.
Yeah.
And it's still gotten bigger, and we're just kind of changing our treatment up. So
yeah,
things have changed for me here recently. Even like my work schedule's changed.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I do have changed, but I'm trucking along. I've got a great support team.
Yeah.
My husband, my daughter, my grandkids, my family.
Yeah.
And just going from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate though, because like I said, I've got a great support team, and I love my husband and my daughters, and I have 6 perfect grandchildren.
Yes,
so
you do.
that keeps me going.
Yeah. 5 boys.
5 boys and 1 girl. She's my
and she's little Gina.
Yeah. Maria, that's what my mom says. She goes, she reminds me so much of
She
you.
is.
My mom, it's a joke. My mom says she's just like you. She's loud and bossy.
Well, to me, I mean, maybe this is like too entirely deep, and I'm definitely not trying to make you cry, but it's like in the idea that like God, like you're gonna live on, like we'll still have
That's
you
exactly right.
through her. He gave you the one girl granddaughter, and she's you. So when you're not with us Earthside anymore, we're still gonna have little Gina.
Yeah. So
yeah,
they make me happy, and even on my, I FaceTime them every day.
Yeah.
And I could be having, a bad day, a painful day, and the minute they get on the phone and we're talking and interacting, my day just yeah. And then I live for going to my grandson's football games, soccer games, basketball games. So that's what I live for. I think that's what
and Nicholas does.
I don't want to
T-ball, right?
Nicholas does flag football, basketball, and soccer.
Okay. I thought he was doing baseball at some point.
He did.
Okay.
He did too. But Carter's just started T-ball.
Oh, that's right.
We're got the schedule for that.
That's right. We did. And your grandsons are all like superstar athletes.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
And that's like a fact. That's not like they us just being biased family members.
Very well. I'm super excited for them and for, I pray for their professional athletic careers.
Yes.
Things like that. So
yes.
I'm super. And not to mention, I've got 2 great daughters that are so good to me.
I know, cousin. Your girls
are
sorry,
great. I don't mean to get that upset.
You can. No, I cry all the time. You cry.
They're so good to me, and I just hope that I've been good enough for them. And
you have.
I worry about that, and I just try to tell them I love them every day. And
yeah.
So, that's
they love the shit out of you. So
I'm fortunate.
Yeah. And this is also, I don't know, maybe my brain is crazy because of losing David and stuff. And, we've talked, you and I have talked, and we talked with all of us girls that night that we had, that.
Which, by the way, thank you so much. That was one of the best nights.
Yeah. It was a great night. But, our family grew up very, very, very close across the street from each other because you guys lived in a house across the street from the house that I grew up in. And it was grandma and your mom and you guys. And then across the street was my mom and us.
It's pretty awesome.
Yes, it was. And my mom was divorced, and grandma, I guess Luca was kind of around, but there was but there was really no men. We were just a bunch of women in these 2 houses growing,
just doing our thing.
Just doing our thing.
Yeah.
And so we were very, very close. And then, just as we grew up, there were things that went on that caused, some, I guess, like distance in our family.
Yeah.
And it's also like, it's just so weird how things work out, because losing my husband really changed that.
I think so too.
For the whole family.
I think so too.
Yeah. It really brought us all back together. And
can I just interrupt you?
Yeah.
That's what David did though.
But he was like that.
That's what he wanted is people together, happiness, love, joy. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah, he absolutely.
Because I can't imagine us as a family right now going through what you're going through if we weren't all in the space we're in right now. Like if we were still in the space we were a year ago, and this was happening, no,
it'd be very different.
It'd be so different. So I'm grateful that we're
me too,
all closer again.
I am too. I am grateful for that. I want my daughters to be super duper close with y'all. I think it's important because when I was growing up, I was close with my aunt, my family, my uncles, and that's what I remember.
Yeah.
And so I want them to have the same thing, and cousins to talk to and catch up with and laugh, and I want that for them. And I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that we've all connected again and just kind of picked up right where we left off.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because there was always a lot of love there.
Absolutely. There was. It's just, and plus life happens.
Life happens.
things happen.
And we grew up more like siblings than cousins, and siblings.
Well, we just looked after each other. We took care of each other.
Yeah, shit happens.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you find your way back to each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, this is what I think about it. If any one of us would call each other and need us, we're all there at the drop of a dime.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even when there was distance,
yeah,
it still would have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We still would have been like that. Yeah, for sure.
So.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I didn't mean to get all.
No, it's okay.
Just, thinking about, when I think about my family, it makes me, I love them so much, but it also makes me sad because I don't want to see them hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want to know that they're hurting.
Yeah.
And, and I tell the girls, I said, sometimes I just, and I know sometimes, especially probably with my oldest daughter, that sometimes I think she doesn't want to maybe face the reality of some of this.
Yeah.
Vivian, yes, Vivian, I'm not saying, but they're just different, the way they cope with things.
Right.
But I feel like, it's hard on both of them.
For sure.
And I don't want to see them hurt,
Yeah.
I don't want their kids to see them hurt.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I understand all of that, Jean. I will say that in my experience, which is a very short experience, I mean, really our family hasn't, we lost grandma, 20 something years ago.
It's been, exactly.
And so after her, we haven't really lost anyone. We've been fortunate in our family.
Very fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, until David.
I know.
Yeah. And then, so it's crazy because our moms have worked in the funeral industry for decades.
Oh, yes.
So it's something our family talks about regularly, and we're very comfortable with it. I got married at Calvary Hill Cemetery. I mean, we're just not afraid of those things.
Exactly.
It's not taboo in our family.
No.
But even at that, I was not prepared for the grief of losing my husband, even though we were like prepared with all the smart things to do, and it's only been 6 months that I have this experience with this loss. Today is actually 28 weeks since David passed. But what I was going to say is that what I have learned in my experience so far is that it's important that the girls do see me grieve.
Yeah.
It is, because they know it's okay to grieve. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have those emotions. And they know that that's just because I love their dad so much, So I know you don't want them to hurt, but it's okay if the kids see their mom. Their moms are strong women, and they can be strong and still be.
Yeah. You're not the first person to tell me that when, because like when I go to the hospital or my treatments or whatever, I don't like, they're just, they have very busy lives, and they're like, Mom, I'll go with you. I'm like, no, it's just a quick visit or whatever. But one of the ladies at work told me, you need to start letting them be a part of that. You need to let them share those times with you as well.
Yeah.
So you telling me that is just a confirmation that I do need to
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get why you would not, because we were raised by women that were just strong and hid those things and protect the kids.
I'm just gonna
and
do it.
Yeah. So I totally understand. But if it was you and your mom, you would want to be able to be there.
Hands down. I'm not going nowhere else but there.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I look at it differently. Like, I'll do it for but I want to protect them. But you're right. I would be there. And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they're strong.
They are, right?
Yeah. And it will help them get through it later, And they're going to be sad, but I hope a little bit in watching me grieve that you can see that even though they're going to be sad, and even though it's going to be difficult, in our family, the women, we fucking pick up and keep moving.
We're very
You just said it yourself. Like, you don't want to burden them. You just go. You just get it done.
Yeah.
That's the way
my mindset.
That's the way we are. They will do the same. They will be sad. They will be hurt, but they're just going to get up and get their shit done. And then they'll get home and they'll collapse in their bed and they'll be sad about it. But tomorrow they'll get up and be strong again. They will.
Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty strong. And I know they are too. I just try to protect them as much as I can, but I do need to.
That's because you're a good mom.
Thank you. Yeah. So
Yeah, I know.
anyway, but yes, so we are strong women in our family. I am proud because when I think about women, this is what, like, how we are. It does, like me. I grew up watching, obviously my mom, I didn't have a full-time father in my life or anything like that. Um it was her and grandma, and grandma Cleo was
Yeah,
very strong.
she was.
She bought that house. She worked 2 jobs. She loved to, she worked hard, but she loved to play hard too.
Yes,
And
she did.
those are the things I remember.
Yeah,
And so when my mindset is, Maria, sometimes, like, I have to, like, remind myself to peel itself up off that bed and keep it going.
yeah,
Same for if you just to go to work sometimes.
I understand.
But yeah, so
But you're doing it,
well, I am. Thank you.
and I'm proud of you. I'm proud
Thank
of how
you.
strong you've been.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just feel like we got a little journey still to go, and I'm here to try to spend as much time as I can with my daughters, my family, obviously my grandkids, continue going to the games when I can.
Yeah,
And especially, I think about my husband, and I
yeah.
don't want to, like,
No, go ahead. I
I
was going to
just
ask about him because I don't want you to think that we can't talk about Tino just because of David, because we should, because that's your husband of 25 years and he's the love of your
he's just
life.
been so he's seen a lot because, obviously we're together all the time. And then when I am, like, at my lowest, because sometimes I feel like it's just, I've had everything taken away.
Yeah,
I've had what this all started with my face. My face was completely, like, turned black, and on my cheek and on my nose. And he was with me, obviously, through all of that. And when he has seen me at my lowest, and I'm, maybe having a pity party or just not feeling it. I just feel like sometimes everything is being taken away, and he is there with me, right by my side. And
yeah,
Tino can be a very strong person, but he is, and I feel bad for him, in those times.
yeah,
But I am fortunate to have him, and I am fortunate for my girls to have him in their lives too, and my grandkids.
yeah.
Because when Tino met me, I was a single mom, and
And he was sly.
he was, and he still is. Well, he
Yeah.
wouldn't say that, but I do. But he's just been a good man and a good partner for me and for us.
He
I always tell the
has.
girls, I always tell them the original four. When they were little, like me, Tino, Samantha, and Viv.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad for him sometimes, but he's okay. He's doing
Yeah.
okay, just working and doing his thing.
He loves you. And if the shoe was
And you
on
know
the
how
other foot,
Tino is. He's a joker. He's a yeah,
yeah.
but no, he can.
Yeah. And
He's very
you would do the same for him if,
absolutely.
so he's doing just what you have a good husband and you like people make a lot of comments about mine and David's marriage and things like that, but you and Tino have had a great marriage. I mean,
Yeah,
every marriage has ups and downs, but
yeah.
you
We've
guys are
gone.
each other's partners,
Yeah,
and
I think it's gotten. They're in the. Obviously, everybody has problems up and down. They're in the middle of our marriage. We went through some stuff, and we made some decisions, and some we didn't like, some we did. We went through counseling.
yeah, which
I
is
think
important.
counseling was probably the best thing that happened for us
Yeah.
because it helped us. We weren't doing good for each other, us together. We needed someone to help us,
Right.
and we did, and thank God, and we just kept it moving ever since.
Yeah.
We don't. I feel like now these days, there's really nothing to fight about other than where you're
Right.
gonna go eat,
Yeah.
or something like that. Not really fight, but
I get
just
what you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah. He's been a great dad to the
He
girls.
has.
He's been a great husband to you.
He
He's been a
has.
great
Oh my
grandpa.
gosh, yes.
And, I hope again seeing me with my girls because I am Tino just
You
a
are.
decade or
Yeah,
two
yeah. There's
later,
yeah.
you know? And so I believe that that's what Tino will do,
hmm
what I've done with my girls.
Yeah,
Those are my girls.
yeah.
those are
exactly.
his girls and his grandkids. That's his family.
Yeah.
And he'll
He'll
continue on with his family.
and that's what yes, that's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt, he loves them. And we've done a lot of things. We've got to see our grandchildren be born.
Yeah.
We've saw he walked my daughter down the aisle. We've done some amazing things. So I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything that you want to say to your grandkids for down the road? Let's think 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, where we'd be gone anyway. Not, you know what I mean? Like, forget cancer, forget accidents, we're going to be gone in 30, 40 years regardless. Like, I'll be 70 in 30 years. So I'll be gone too. I'll be right there with you and my husband, and I'll be happy to be there.
I want to say, that I love them so much. Jay was my firstborn grandson, and he'll be 17 on March 19th.
Yeah.
And everybody says Jay is just, it's just that he was the firstborn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love him and all of my grandchildren dearly.
Yeah.
Dearly. And I'm so super proud of them. They have become great young men. And I know that they're going to continue to do that. But I want them to know that to dream big, dream so big, because all hard work and dedication pays off.
Yes.
And I want them to know that they are good. I tell my daughter, they're going to be great men, and when they get older and it's time for them to get married and have children, that they need to know that they need, sorry.
No, you're okay. Take your time. Take your time.
That I love them so much, if I'm here, if I'm not here. And I just, I love them. And I want them to know that. And I hope and I pray that we can continue to spend a lot of time together. But I want them to know that when they're men and they're going through their things, they could do anything through the Lord our Savior, because they're just, and I know that they, Jesus is in their life.
Yeah.
And the same for my granddaughter.
Yes.
My granddaughter is just turned 6, girl.
Yeah.
And she's acting like she's 12.
Yes.
But you know what? I want her to know too, also to dream big. And it's funny you say that about, is there things I want to talk to them? I do want to tell them so much.
Yeah.
Just even stuff that I feel like they need to know. Like, like, what do you, like I told my grandson when we're in the car, I was taking him to school or picking him up. What do you do when you come to a railroad track? Like, what do you do when the ambulance is coming down the road? Like, just little stuff. Like, I feel like I need to tell them. I know they know this.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I am getting a lot of things together now that we're talking about this. Just things I need to have prepared. Yeah. And I am planning to leave them. I want to leave them little keepsake boxes with some little things I'm trying to get together for them, because there's just too much to say, and I don't even know. I don't know. Yeah, I gotta get my thought process right.
Yeah. Well, I know this is a tough time in our family and a tough time for you and your family, and it's unimaginable to think that this is a part of life sometimes, and having to realize it and see this coming. It's unimaginable to not see it coming.
Exactly.
But I do see it as a blessing that we can sit here and have this conversation, and that you have the time to create the ability to leave something for them, and then you'll always be with them.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like David is around all the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think
that is awesome.
Around, and me and the girls, we always talk about it, about how he's around. And I believe that our family members who go to heaven actually can interact with us and be our guardian angels and help us and things like that, if we believe it. Just like Catholic people believe that the saints, you can pray to the
Exactly.
saints and the saints
Yes,
can,
exactly.
I feel the same way about our loved ones.
Mhm.
Maybe we've lost that connection with them over the years,
Mhm.
like generationally of like
Yeah.
reminding people to like, hey, talk to them and they're going to be, but I feel David's presence all the time and I
That's
talk to
awesome.
him all the time. And so I think that we have an opportunity to teach ourselves as women and our kids and grandkids to change that and to
Mhm.
still be connected with
Yes.
our loved ones,
Absolutely.
when they're
Absolutely.
interdimensionally, we
Mhm.
can still
I
have
believe
a
that.
connection and a
Mhm.
relationship. Yeah, I do too.
I think about that, quite a bit. Obviously we're in the funeral, I help families that when someone's passed and or pre-planning or things like that. So I hear a lot of different,
Stories about,
stories. I do. And I'm a big believer of that. I am a big believer that when this is just me,
mhm,
that when someone passes, that they go through I don't want to say like a chamber, a tunnel. I don't know, but the transition.
yeah,
And they do see like their loved ones that have
mhm,
passed. That's how I feel. I also feel like I can only imagine the beauty of heaven,
right,
the sound, the smell, the colors, and then with your loved ones, and then with your Lord and Savior. Some people, in my experience from dealing with work, don't have different thoughts,
yeah,
but I personally believe that. So I'm almost like, I want to stay on earth for as long as I can,
of
but
course,
I it's okay too. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
I do,
It's okay.
I do,
I want to, obviously we have we want to protect our kids and our loved ones and things like that, but it's okay too.
and I think that's really profound of you to see it that way, and I admire that that's the mindset you have in this situation. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people may not,
I think for
you
me
know.
though, I think for me it's just reality.
Yeah,
And I try to, for a while I try to suppress it really just back there where, but then I have these reminders that, oh no, you are getting treatment. Your body does hurt. You can barely move. And it's just reality. And so I've come to just kind of almost just deal with it, face it. And
but even that's admirable, G, because some people in your position still, you're so strong and you're being so strong, and not everybody in your position would do what you're doing, which is face it, get up, make the preparations, just go to work, go to,
yeah,
do all the
yeah,
things. Other people may struggle with even just doing those things, and you're doing it. And I think that that's
yeah.
admirable, and
Thank you.
I'm proud of you,
Thank you.
and I love you very
I
much.
love you too, cousin. I really appreciate us talking, and we've discussed other things and your help. So,
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
I have two more questions I'd like to
Yes.
ask. Okay, so one is, I feel like David sends the girls and I signs.
Mhm.
So, and maybe this is silly, but I wish that I knew, like, if we had decided on a sign that one day when one of us isn't here anymore, that when you see that sign, that is for sure me, like that
Mhm.
confirmation.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if you could leave
Mhm.
your daughters and your grandkids, like you're here, you're not here one day, and there's going to be a sign
Mhm.
and they know it's you. Like, for instance, people think I'm crazy, but my windshield wipers go off randomly. No complete sun, no water
Yeah.
anywhere. I can be in a parking garage, no water nowhere, no, not in the elements, and my windshield wipers will just randomly like go off.
Mm.
And I think it's David because him and I would argue about that because he would get in my car and I always have them on auto
Mhm.
and he would turn it off. And then I would get back in the car and I'm like, why do you do that? If it wasn't even raining, what's the need to turn the auto on the
Mhm.
windshield wipers off? Like, I don't understand. And so I think he does it on purpose to let me know, like,
Yeah.
I'm here.
I am right here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and it happens at the most, like, I'm needing to hear from him moments.
Isn't that something?
They'll go off.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. And
That's
so,
amazing.
yeah. And so, but I just feel like it's him.
Mhm.
But it would have been so cool if him and I said, "That's how I'm gonna you'll know it's me." Do you know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
do. That's a good question. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to
Think about
actually
it.
think about that one because what's gonna my sign gonna be?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
But
Like,
how amazing that we also have that
yeah,
opportunity to talk about it and you can tell them and they'll know it's you one day.
Yeah, that's
because I believe when you get there, you'll be able to come back and still show them that sign.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna want them to know that that's me.
Yeah.
So you better check yourself. Just kidding. Oh my gosh, the girls would be like, "Mom," but you know what I mean. I always want them to be, like, did you put your air in your tire? Like, put your alarm on. Like, close your window. And they're like, Vivian will be like, "Mom,
yeah,
I know what to
I
do."
know.
I'm like, I
I
know,
am a
but I'm
grown
still
up.
gonna tell you.
Yes.
But I'm going to think about that.
Yeah.
So when the next time when she go, or like if she puts her alarm on or she forgot, it'd be like, damn, Mom always, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
but
think
yeah,
about
I'm
it.
gonna
That
think
would be a
about
good
that.
one.
To be continued on that one.
Okay, to be continued. And then my other question was, what, as like your cousin slash sister, prima hermana, right, is what they call it. What would you like from me? Let's assume, because we don't know what's going to happen in the world. I could go before you, even though we're planning for you. We were planning for my mom, and I lost David. So let's assume I'm still here with your girls. As a family member, as a prima hermana, what would you like for me to do to help support your family on behalf of you?
I've thought about this before.
Okay.
I've thought about this before. I would like for you, to make sure that my girls, like, even though they could be, in their 40s or whatever, life happens, and just to make sure that, that there's still, like, advice, someone who's, you know, advice, guidance, just someone to be there when they need someone to listen, someone to kind of just be like a sister to them too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And make sure that when I'm not here, just make sure that they're okay. Check in on them. That would be very important to me, and make sure that, and I'm not saying, you know, but even as adults, we sometimes need to hear someone else, even if it's something we want to hear, something we don't want to hear, but we need to be told. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. I want them to have, I don't want to say like a mom, but I want them to have like that person that, like you, my sister, like the person that they could just talk to, rely on, things like that.
Yeah.
That's what I would want. Because I wouldn't want to know that, they felt like they had no one to talk to, no one to reach, whether if it's their health, their mental health, whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Like those things are important to me.
Absolutely.
I don't want them to feel like they have, and not that I don't think they will, but I want someone to make sure that
you don't want
they're
them to
okay.
feel alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to make sure that they know that they're
And
supported.
they're very strong women as well too. I just feel like we all need that.
100%.
My sister checks on, my sister's younger than me, and I love her to death. And you know how my sister, she checks on me, she worries about me, and sometimes I feel bad for my sister because I probably haven't told her, but sometimes I think that maybe she doesn't realize this, that what if I'm not here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to see her hurt.
Yeah.
I
understand.
And it just, like, I want her to know that the time is precious.
Yeah.
And, and I love spending time with her and her daughters and my nephew, and it's just, but I feel like sometimes she maybe almost is suppressing it too. Like, you know what I mean? You don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to be like, obviously we know I'm going through all this, but I'm almost like blindsided, like where I want her to just to kind of come to reality, like this is reality.
Yeah. I understand. Like
She just got on to me the other day because when I was telling you that, I realized kind of now I know what may have triggered it. Sister, you can't be cleaning, you can't be bending over, you can't be doing this. She gets on to me too, but she's there for me, and I want y'all to be there for each other.
Yeah.
And Mandy,
we will.
and our girl unit that we have, that's stronger together, because It's important.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that disconnect. I don't want to know that. I don't want to see that because it's just not worth it. And, there's so many other things.
Yeah. For
And it
sure.
was unfortunate that we lost your husband.
Yeah.
But I feel like David has really like made this happen.
Yeah.
I really do.
I do too.
I really do because time would have just kept going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like
And it's
he,
almost like I don't think he knew he was leaving this world, but like he had you and Tino come over for
yeah,
Father's Day,
yeah.
remember? And we hadn't really hung out in a long time. And
We,
we had dinner before
I
that
mean,
because I had reached
remember,
out.
it was no Gloria's.
Gloria's, and he was so loud. Remember, I kept telling him,
You were like, David, I know you're excited, but
baby, you're so loud. The whole restaurant is listening to our conversation. So
we had so much fun.
Yeah.
But I remember you kept telling David. And then we came for Father's Day, and we had they had the brisket cook-offs.
Yes, they did.
Oh my God, the food was amazing. The company, but we still were here all day.
Yes, yeah,
that was a great time. It was a great time with him.
I'm
it
glad
was a great
that
time with all of y'all.
It started to mend before he left.
Yeah, me too. So that's why I say, for you guys, like I want like you and the girls and to still have that connection. I don't, I would be sad if there was a disconnect. As I want them to be able to lean on you, to talk and things like that, and for guidance and advice, things like that.
Well, I promise you, G, I will.
That would be very important to me.
Yeah, I can promise you that I will.
Thank you.
I promise you that I will, and the only way that I can confirm to you or feel like I can prove to you that I will do that is the other day I had a conversation with my mom because I don't do well with my grief in the evenings. I have a lot of nighttime hours by myself, and I can function during the day, and but once everybody goes back to their own homes and mom's asleep and it's just me and Raven in here, it's hard. And my mom said, don't you want to like join a widow's support group or something? And I told my mom, no, I just want to figure out how to grieve my husband and accept it. Because I have a support group. I have plenty of women. I have, I don't need to look for more women to spend time with or talk to. I have that. What I don't have is my husband. So I just need to figure out how to accept our new relationship. But I don't need more support. I have all the women I need.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And so I will make sure that I'm there for your girls as well so that they feel the same way I do when that time comes.
And I don't want to, it's funny. It's just like, I think about, it's so weird, Maria. Like, I think about, like, I don't know if this is like, when that time comes. Like, I want my girls to, like, almost like, be protected at that time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
to help them, and and
I don't know how I'm gonna be in both houses at that time, because you got two girls.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they'll be together somewhere.
But I want that for them too. When I lost David, I feel like the women in our family descended upon my house, and I don't even know what was going on in the house. They were running my house for me, and I was just focused on my husband and my daughters. And food was coming, people were coming, things were happening, things were being cleaned out there, but I didn't do any of it. The women in our family just showed up and showed out. And it is a priority for me to make sure that happens for your girls as well too when that time comes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know how but we'll do it.
Yeah,
we're gonna do it.
Yeah, and so with that being said, I've gotten a lot of things together. Like I wrote stuff in my personal planning guide, and certain things I want, and I just want for me to have as much as I can done for them when that time comes, obviously.
Which is such a blessing.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Because even that, I can't imagine walking on top of like losing David, having to go in and do that planning and
it's a lot.
make all those decisions.
It is a lot.
Yeah, it was so much easier that it was already done.
Yeah.
And I just walked in, she confirmed everything that, we already had. And then I just got to say, no, I want a prettier casket for my husband.
But it was just something you wanted to change. You didn't have to like
start from scratch. And I didn't have to worry about cost as well. To such a huge degree, and so much to talk about. Maybe we can talk about that another time too.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's a blessing to leave your kids, to leave your girls, and it leaves that for your grandkids too, because if it takes that off of them, then it's less that they're dealing with in that moment. And your grandkids will also be they won't know. They'll have their own grief and they won't know how to handle it. They're going to watch them. It's going to be uncomfortable for them too.
Yeah, I know.
I know it's uncomfortable for my girls to see me grieving and not. But at the end of the day, the kind of women we are in our family, we're strong, and we're just, you listen, nobody's like 100% stable, but we're pretty stable. Do you know what I mean? Like we're pretty stable.
Yeah.
And so as long as the girls, which I feel like they'll still maintain that stability through their grief and through the difficulty of it, but because that's the strongness in us, is getting up and just staying the course for that foundation, And so the kids will see that, and it'll be a good lesson for them, because one, they will see that their moms are vulnerable and emotional. They will see it's okay to grieve. They'll see their strength in the stability, and they will understand that it's a learning lesson for them, because as children, they will understand that even when things get hard and things are shaky, my mom is still my foundation, and she's strong. And because she's strong, I'll be strong.
Yeah. I agree.
And your girls have learned that from you. Yeah. And then your grandkids will learn that from them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
On a happy note, so I'm checking things off my bucket list just because, I'm hoping I have still a long time to go.
Of course.
But so my husband took me to a Maverick game.
Okay.
Because I've never been to, which was the absolute best. Maria, I was singing, dancing, standing up. Of course
you were.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
And then,
but gee, that's your vibe anyway. Like,
well, I was singing and dancing at CG's party, which
her
was
party.
Fun.
Yeah.
And then he's taking me to I want to go to a PBR.
Okay.
Yeah, I really want to do that.
I love
and
that.
Then just yesterday,
that's professional bull riding for our non-Texas watchers and listeners.
And then I want to go to the Ark replica.
Okay.
Which is in Kentucky.
Okay.
And then, so we're going to do a road trip.
Okay.
And then we're going to do some stops on the way. We're going to do we're going to go to the Titanic one too.
Okay.
In Tennessee.
Okay.
Nashville, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then we're going to just continue on. We're going to, on our way back in, we'll go in through Hot Springs and so we're planning a little road trip. Certain things I want to do.
I love that.
Yeah. And then other little things, but at least I'm just, working towards that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And in the meantime, we'll just, if you get an itch or an inkling, and just let any of us know. And
we'll do something. I told Tino the other day, I said, you know what I've always wanted to do? And he's like, what? I go, I want like a spring picnic. Like, I just want to go take a blanket. And he goes, a picnic? And I'm like, yeah, but like at a nice place. And then so Vivian was telling me about this place in Pilot Point.
Okay.
Like we're apparently like where they grow tulips and all that. So we're going to plan that one.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, so from here on, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And spending time with my husband, my daughters, my grandkids, my family, my mom and my sister, and just keep it moving.
Yes.
That's all I can do, girl.
Yeah. That's all we can all do. And we love you.
I love you too.
And I am really thankful that you did this with me today.
Well, I appreciate you having me, and I think about you all the time. And if you ever need anything from us, from me, you just let us know, because we're here, girlfriend.
Absolutely.
I love you.
I love you too, G. It's been so much fun talking to you.
Thank you.
And I hope we can talk again.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. And it was great to be able to share with our listeners and our watchers what goes on in Gina's Casa. And they can join me here next Saturday. They want to continue to hear about what goes on and what it's like in my casa. And if they're interested in talking to me about what it's like in their casa, then they can email me. And otherwise, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Love you.